Hello everyone, welcome to another video on full operations. This one with decimals, I'm afraid. This one and the full operations with integers, whole numbers, it's not the most exciting topic in the world, but I'm afraid it's something we just have to be absolutely perfect at. Examiners aren't going to give you any leeway, they don't want to give you any credit if you're making a mistake on these kinds of problems, okay? We've just got to make sure we've absolutely nailed them so we've got no problems at all with this kind of question, okay? We're going to start by looking at addition, and the important thing to remember here, as with subtraction, as you'll see in a second, is that we line up the decimal points. If you're taking away one message from this video, it's that you make sure that you line up the decimal points here, okay? So you see wherever the decimal point is, I'm making sure that it's lined up, they're all lined up between the different parts of the sum. Then I draw my line under here, and what I can do is I can just fill up all the rest of the blanks with zeros if this helps me. Okay, just so that I've got the whole thing filled up. Okay, and then it's just a case of, this is an addition question. So it's just a question of adding up as per normal. 4 plus 0 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 5 is 10. So put the 0 here, carry the 1. 3 plus 2 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 0 plus 1 plus 3 is 4. 0 plus 0 plus 4 is 4. And we just pop our decimal point in there. 44.804. Okay, so just be very, very careful that you line up the decimal points in these addition questions, okay? The same goes for subtraction. So here we've got 43.25. And so I'm going to take away 0.354. Okay, remember I can fill in any blanks I want with zeros here. Then I put my there, and I say to myself, okay, right, I want to do 0 take away 4. Now, if you've watched the integers version, you realize, of course, you can't do that. We can't have negatives in it, so we're going to have to borrow, turn this into a 4, this into a 10, and 10 take away 4. Well, now I can start doing it, okay? So I can put in 10 take away 4 is 6. Then I'm going to do 4 take away 5. I can't do it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to borrow. I'm going to borrow from the 2, turn this into a 1, and a 1, not squiggle, and make this 14. Okay, then I've got to do 14 take away 5 here. That's going to give me 9. Then I've got to do 1 take away 3. Well, can't do it. So if I can't do it, what do? I have to borrow. Borrow from the 3. Turn into a 2. Make this 11. 11 take away 3. Well, now, okay, I'm going to be able to finish this now because 11 take away 3 is 8. Decimal point stays where it is. 2 take away 0 is simply just 2. 4 take away 0 is 4. I've got my answer, 42.896. Okay, so again, key point, line up decimal points, fill in any blanks with zeros, and then it's just a case of how good are you with your subtraction skills. Okay, don't forget to put your decimal point back in at the end. Okay, we're now going to look at multiplication and division. Now here, you don't actually line up the decimal points. You're going to see why in a second. What I want you to do when you get any multiplication involving a decimal, here it is, with a whole number like this, is actually for the decimal bit, just forget completely about the decimal point. Okay, I want you to imagine that this sum is 432 times by 7. Okay, just completely forget that decimal point. And we can draw our lines in here. Okay, now if you were watching carefully in the multiplication video, you'll know we do 7 times by 2, which is 14. Put the 4 here, carry the 1. Then we do 7 times by 3, which is 21. Add this number here, so that's 22. So put a 2 here, and a 2 up here. And then I do 7 times by 4, which is 28. I add this number here, 29, 30. I put the 0 here. I would carry the 3, but there's nothing to carry it to, so it comes down here. I get my answer 3024. But hold on. I've not quite finished yet because it doesn't look like 43 times by 7 is going to be 3024. I've forgotten something, of course. I've got to put my decimal point back in, and there's a very simple way of working out where I put my decimal point. All I need to do is look in my question, okay, the whole question, 43.2 times by 7, and see how many decimal places are there, how many numbers are there after a decimal point. Well, there's just one. Here it is, okay? There's nothing here after a decimal point, and there's only one here after a decimal point. So all I do is I start on the right-hand side of my number, and I go one space in. Okay? And that's the one space here. It goes one space in, and now I've got my answer. 302.4, and that sounds a bit more sensible, okay? So once I've done my normal calculation, then I put the decimal point in, depending on how many decimal places there were in the whole question. So let's have a look at a slightly harder one, this one here, okay? We've got 53.5 times by 4.2. Well, remember what I said. Forget about the decimal point. Get rid of it, okay? 53.5, I turn that into 535. 4.2, I turn that into 42. Okay? Then, draw my line. And I start doing my sum. Remember, I start by multiplying everything by this 2. So I do 2 times by 5, which is 10. Let's put the answers in red, actually. 2 times by 5 is 10, so I put the 0 down here. And the 1 carries next to the next number I'm going to multiply by. 2 times by 3 is 6. Add the 1, 7. Followed by 2 times by 5 is 10. 0 goes here. 1 would carry on, but there's nothing to carry it to, so the 1 comes down here. Okay? Then I switch to multiplying by the 4 this time. 4 times by 5 is 20. Oh, pause. What have I forgotten to do? When I move to multiplying by this second number here, what's the first thing I've got to do? You're right. I've got to put a 0 here. Okay? Even remember, this is in the tens column. Even though we're dealing with decimals here, but we've forgotten about it. Even then, this is in the tens column, so I need to put that 0 there, as I always do, and then I can do 4 times by 5, which is 20. So put a 0 here, and a 2 next to the next number I'm going to multiply by, which is here. 4 times by 3 is 12. Add the 2, that's 14. So the 4 goes here, and the 1 goes next to the next thing I'll multiply by. 4 times by 5 is 20. Add the 1, 21. The 1 would go here, 2 comes down here. Okay, and at that stage then I can add together these bottom rows here. Remember, this was a multiplication question. Now add the last bits here. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 4 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 0 plus 2 is 2. I've nearly finished, but what have I got to do? That's correct. I need to put my decimal point in. So I go back to my question and I say, how many numbers were there after the decimal point? 1, 2. There were 2 decimal places. So I go to the right of my number and I go 1, 2 spaces in. That's where my decimal place goes. Okay, 224.7. Okay, so don't forget to do your normal multiplication skills here. Okay, I nearly forgot my 0 in here. You mustn't forget that. And then you can put your decimal point in or back in at the end. Okay, our last slide here is on division. Okay, this time you're going to leave the decimal point in there. Okay, so we've got 6. 211.5. Okay, so I say how many 6s in 2? The answer is, of course, 0. So that 2 carries on to the next number. How many 6s in 21? Well, I know the answer is 3, because 6 times 3 is 18. How much short of 21 am I? If I've got 18, how much short am I? I'm 3 short, 19, 20, 21. So that 3 carries on to the next number here. Okay. How many 6s in 31? Well, the answer is 5. 6 times by 5 is 30. But how much are left over have I got? I've got 1 left over because 6 times 5 is only 30, but I wanted 31. So I've got 1 left over. Decimal point stays where it is. How many 6's in 15? The answer is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. But how much does that leave me over 3? Now then, this bit here. Once I've gone beyond the end of my number, I can put as many zeros as I like. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, going on forever. Okay, so that 3, 6 times 2 is 12, but I had 3 left over because I didn't quite make my 15. That 3 joins onto one of these zeros. Okay, and I say how many 6's in 30? The answer is, of course, 5, and that fits perfectly. So I've got my answer, 35.25. Okay, so that's division with decimals. Okay, works exactly the same as with whole numbers. It's just that you make sure you keep that decimal point into the answer as you're going through. Okay, treat it as though it was some long whole number, but you just put the decimal point back up in the correct position here. Okay, vertically above where it was in the question. That's it. Okay, for operations with decimals, the best way to do these is to practice, practice, practice. So come and ask me for some questions, and I'll have a look at them for you. Okay, thanks a lot. Goodbye.